Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this week's question video. So last week I asked you guys what your favorite book is, and today I will be reading your answers. So we're going to start off with Skelm, who says, I have to say, The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski. I did not pronounce that right at all. I apologize. I just butchered the name. It's the first one in the Witcher series. First I thought it was a good typical fantasy novel, but when I started reading it, I soon noticed it is more mature and realistic. There's really no good or bad, and very often the monsters are not the evil ones. Humans just think they are. The world is filled with racial tensions. Humans hate elves and only tolerate dwarves because they're good at crafting. It's an interesting setup for Tolkien-like fantasy. Tolkien-like fantasy, I believe, would have to do with Lord of the Rings. But I like the idea of that, where Skelm says the monsters are often not the evil ones, but humans just think they are, right? And I feel like that can be put into real life in a lot of different ways. And more, I guess, in relation to like fears. You can think of your fears as the monsters, right? So it's often not necessarily a monster. It's often not necessarily that bad of a thing, but you just kind of think it is. Or maybe it's not even fears. Maybe it's just other things. Your monsters can be whatever it is, whatever problems you have. Zincat says Cloud Atlas really stuck with him. It is a very complicated structure and you have to keep track of a lot of people, but it's one of those books you can get lost in, and I completely understand that. The Cloud Atlas sounds familiar to me, but I don't believe I've ever read it. I actually haven't read very many books in my life, but it does sound familiar to me. And Zincat, I don't think you'll have any issue keeping track of all those people, because with all your puppet characters that you have on your channel there, you have to do a darn good job of keeping all of the names and all of the voices straight for each one, so I don't think you'd have a problem with that at all. And Omar, you say, it's Smile, You Are Dead. It's a book I read from my cousin. It's an Arabian book. It like starts from the past to the present, and it's a horror movie, and that sounds really interesting. I don't know what exactly that is about, but that is kind of cool in my opinion. My mom says all games sound good. My ultimate favorite book is the Bible, of course, and the contents captivate her and have a hard time putting it down once I start reading it, which is typical. That is definitely typical of the Bible for a lot of people. Other than that, she says anything by Stormy O'Marchian is good. Her work always captivates her, and yeah, I know the one book, I forget the name of it, but the one book that you got, you couldn't put it down after you got it, so that's really cool too. Me too. Hey, guess what? I can't choose one. Of course you can't. You have a hard time picking favorites. No problem at all. So I'm going to name two as an example. First is the classic 10 Little Niggers by Agatha Christie. I don't like saying that word, but I'm only saying it because that is the name of the book, so there we go. And second, this is completely random, would be, and I am going to completely butcher the pronunciation of this, but My Totito by Eni Mostonen. Finished book and pretty old, but I couldn't stop reading it before it was already over, and that's rare as I'm no bookworm. So that's pretty cool, because if a book can captivate you that much when you're not really that interested in reading and you literally can't put it down, then I think it's a pretty darn good book. And Funny Fluffy, you say thanks for putting your playlist in the description, means a lot. No problem at all. I love watching your Night in the Woods series, so no problem. And the book I remember reading way back but didn't finish was the World War Z. First few pages really went into disturbing depicting of a patient zero, if I remember that right. And so that's obviously like a zombie kind of thing, I assume, because of World War Z, I believe that would be, the Z would be zombies, or World War Z. Z sounds better in this case. But yeah, I always kind of like zombie stories, zombie things, I guess. I don't know. Zombies are just very interesting, and the post-apocalyptic, survival kind of aspect of it, the story regarding that, is always very interesting to me. As for books for myself, I wrote down a few last week because, like I said, I don't read very many books, and there've been a few that I have read that have really interested me, and one of them was the first one. I forget the name of the book, and I was trying to find it because I know I still have it here, and it's all very distorted and everything, because I used to take it to school when I was in like grade 8, 9, I think, 7, 8, 9, and I reread it like multiple times because it was that interesting to me. And I can't remember what it is, but it got very destroyed because kids are cruel. So anyway, the main character's name is Gerard. The villain's name is Morgan. She's kind of like a witch. There's a wizard. The castle, there ended up being some kind of a spell that put all the adults like to sleep, I guess, I think, but the kids weren't affected. And so then Gerard, along with two other kids, they have to go around finding these pieces of a talisman, I believe, and one of them they found under the bridge, under a bridge, where there was a troll living there. And the troll, you know, typical thing, you have to, in order to cross the bridge, you have to pay the troll something. And so, yeah, that was definitely the one most captivating book. That one gave me the most vivid imagination that I can remember. Another one was Left Behind, from the Left Behind series, and that in particular Assassins was the only one I read. And I don't know, that one got me really interested in like the rapture and the revelation end times, you know, like what the Bible talks about for revelations, and that kind of thing. That got me really interested in that. And so yeah, there's that one. And the last one was The Chrysalids. We read this, I believe, in grade 7, and honestly I didn't really like it that much. There were a lot of, I guess, parts of it, parts of the plot, parts of the story of it that I just didn't like. I kind of hated it in some ways, but like we were forced to read it, but it also, reading it gave me a hugely vivid imagination. Like I could see everything that was happening. It was very descriptive. But yeah, so those are my 3 because I couldn't pick just one. Now my question for you guys for next week is, what activity do you find most fulfilling to you? If you have multiple, that is fine as well. Just what activity gives you joy, gives you a lot of joy, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is to me. I'm just curious to know what it is you guys love to do. And you guys can probably already guess what mine will be, what my number 1 will probably be. And if you can, then bonus points to you, although there's no score system, so the bonus points are just kind of some vague, inconspicuous number that probably doesn't really mean anything, but still bonus points, so yay, yay. Let me know your answers in the comments below, and I will see you again next week. So have a wonderful day, have a wonderful Monday, and a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you again tomorrow. God bless.